Good morning. Hey, we're live. Hey, good morning. Hope you're doing well. This is the 5am Mester Scrum Show, and it is 5:59 in the morning. So we've made 1 minute underneath the 5 minute. Trying to get things running. Anyway, I'm Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach. I hope you're doing well. For those who's finished their Monday, good for you. Well, actually, it's Tuesday. It's not Monday. Yay, we all finished Monday. Cool. Hey, it's Tuesday. This is our 295th episode, and we talk about Scrum and Agile in a tactical, practical way so that we can get home to our family and friends, out of our caves, crawl out, and produce good value for our customer in a lean way so we're not working 60, 80 hours a week, working weekends and things like that, as we talked about yesterday in the job description, right? And have a little fun along the way. Balance work and life, it's good stuff. Ooh, phone's going off. Get notification that Greg Mester and the 5am Mester Scrum Show is now live and in person. Cool. I'll have to go watch his show, huh? Anyway, so we usually talk about 2 items, keep it under 15 minutes because that's the length of a daily Scrum. And today I want to talk about one of the Scrum values, commitment, and a different way of talking. I'm not going to inspire the whole thing, but we're going to talk about that, and then having the end in sight for that commitment. And the other thing I want to talk about, the never-ending talker. And I was at a meeting the other day, and I'm like, I got to talk about this guy just because I do. So those are the kind of things we're going to talk about today. So commitment, value commitment. And I want to change it up a little bit in a different perspective. The other day I was doing a coaching session, and I wrote some notes on my kid's paper because Dad is now and this is all the paper I had at the time. Little whale at the lake. The whale is on the skates. He's going to the lake. That's pretty cool. And I guess it's little readings. I don't know where my wife got these things, but apparently we have little readings for the kiddos. And do Mr. Mom thing. Why my wife is back to work in the office, and I am here at home working from home and taking care of the kids. So it's my turn. It's fun though. So I was doing a coaching session and talked about a couple things. A couple topics came out. And poor guy, as I'm coaching, I'm like, hey, that's a really good idea for a topic for the show. So I wrote down some topics, and we was laughing. I was laughing. It's like, because we hit some real good points. That's just like, yeah, that would be good. So talking about commitment in a different way with the end in sight, because we were talking about time box. And he was like, well, if we don't do story points and we're talking about story points and pointing in time, and there's a time component. Yes, there's a time component in pointing, but there isn't. It's like one of those, they're positive and negative neutrons or whatever you want to call them. It's there and it's not there, like electrons, right? They're there, but they're not there. You only see them when, or whatever the fine little microbe is. And we're talking about that. And I said, part of it, is having the end and say, why do we have a time box? Why do we have a 2-week time box? And I thought of it in a different way. And not when we are talking, but now before. So this is separate from what we're talking about. But part of the idea about having a time box is to have the end in sight. In a waterfall, never ending sight, we talk about sprint goals, all this kind of stuff. But it's nice to have an end in sight. People don't like to work with no end in sight. They don't get motivated. They don't get things done. It never ends, right? And so the 2-week or the 1 week or the 1 month max gives an end in sight so that it makes it easier for a person to make a commitment. There you go. There's a tie-in behind commitment. I want to make it easier for people to commit. It's hard to commit for like a 6-month or a year-long activity on a project that stretches out over months and months and months. But it's a lot easier to make a commitment to the team, the product, the customer, to what you're doing if it's a short-term commitment. So in a short-term, we're not talking marriage and relationship here. That's long-term, right? But in a short-term commitment, the 2-week time box or the time box using Scrum gives a perfect little time where you can see the end of the commitment in sight. How do we get there? right? We got so much time to get done. We're committing to these little things. So we're working with the end in sight. And that makes it easier for us to make a commitment to the team. So I want to give you a different twist there. Why the time box? Why is it short? It makes it easier for the team to commit to getting the work done because they only have to commit for a certain amount of time and the items are small. They fit in the smaller time box. It's easier to commit that I'm going to concentrate on this activity. If I have a long time, I can't commit to it because other people are coming in all the time with new requirements, new things that need to be done, new priorities, right? So it's kind of hard to make that commitment. But for 2 weeks, a small time box, you can see the end. The end is in sight. You can make that commitment. So that's what I want to share about commitments, a different twist on thinking about commitments. And I kind of want to do this. I was looking when we was reading our favorite Scrum Guide book. He mentions values, and I thought it would be a good idea to give you a different twist on the Scrum values, which were introduced back in 2017, over time. Talk about every once in a while. I want to throw one of the values in, talk about it from a different perspective that maybe you have not talked about nor discussed. That's not in the book, right? Oh, by the way, I am reading. This is my new book, Fixing Your Scrum by Ryan Ripley and Todd Miller. Practical Solutions to Common Problems. I'm on chapter 5. I'm writing some things down. I'm trying to get there on my phone. So when I'm reading, I'm kind of doing in the morning. Because this coronavirus is going to come to an end soon. So I'm trying to get as much reading and stuff done as I can when I get my hour and a half after teaching the kids all day. Sometimes I work a little bit later because I got to make up for time I'm helping the kids do their Zoom and their conference calls and setting them up during the day. And then once that's done, I just make up some of that time during that extra hour and a half that I get from not having to commute, right? So anyway, so we got more stuff coming and more ideas and more things. It's you know what? It's never going to end. It's a never-ending commitment to this show. I don't see no end in sight. There's so much information. Anyway, going a little crazy there. Now, this goes to the time box thing, right? The never-ending talker. So another nice thing about time boxes, have 15-minute time box. Even smaller, like 1 little minute time boxes for people doing daily Scrum. The beauty of the time box, it's there. It keeps you small and keeps the attention. It also puts a time box, a barrier around these people that don't stop talking. I know we're talking for 15 minutes, and you're like, how do you do that's a long time, right? I was in a meeting the other day, and the guy run the meeting. He wouldn't shut up. Oh my. I think he just wanted to hear himself talk the entire damn time during the meeting. I'm like, what are we doing here? I mean, he would take one simple explanation and draw it out, explain every nuance of the thing. It's like, we all got it. And if no one understands it, stop, we want to get out of this meeting because it's death. So I don't know, to be honest with you. And the reason why I never ending talker. Like, here's some thoughts in my head. One is the guy talking because he just likes to hear himself talk all the time. 2, is he talking because he's afraid to death someone's going to ask a question about how they implemented something and challenge him on what he's doing? There is something to that. So these are the kind of things that we as Scrum Masters and as coaches, we encounter a situation like that. Maybe not for this guy. I mean, this guy's a lost cause. It is what it is. Just no one's going to go to his meetings and he's going to look like a fool. But we need to identify why is he talking forever and maybe work with them on how to shorten those conversations, train them on having the smaller conversations because it's really important to the team. The reason why we do all this stuff is so that the team can stay engaged and their time is used wisely and effectively. And they have time to go back to coding and testing, right? To build a better product for the customer. And again, this ties into building value to the customer. Us sitting in a meeting and hearing a guy talk about himself for a freaking half hour is not value added to the customer. It's not. It really is not, right? But he wouldn't stop talking. So we don't control that environment. But as Scrum Masters and Agile coaches, when we facilitate a meeting, set meetings up, or have a teammate who's going to do a presentation, brings them, our job is to make sure those meetings are effectively, and everybody gets a chance to talk, right? So just wanted to warn you about that and describe some of the environment. You've probably been there. It's crazy, isn't it? It's kind of nuts. But again, I think he wanted to hear someone talk. I think that's the. I kind of wonder if the underlying thing is that he's afraid of someone asking a question. So when you're afraid of asking questions, we got to set up an environment where it isn't a hit job, right? I think because the way they're implementing it is terrible. Actually, the person who's doing it, that booked the Phoenix project, the person in charge, seems, when I first heard her voice, the person's voice, and they're talking about the job and what they're doing, and as a program manager, I'm like, what are you doing? I was reading the Phoenix book at the time. I'm like, oh my God, it's the lady in the book. The program manager in the Phoenix book was the lady in charge of this project. And this poor guy has to work with this person and do this implementation. And it's just like, oh my God, it's that. And I cannot, oh, it's spinning. Sorry. Anyway, I got someone commenting. I can't read it, what it is. And it's got the little spinner thing. Anyway, but yeah, they just kept going. Anyway, I don't want to keep that going. I want to keep the time box short. And we got to teach people to keep in presence of where they are in the time box. And that's the beauty of the time box too. There is an end. So I'm in that 30-minute time box with this guy talking, and there is an end. Just like in this show, we get it within 15 minutes. And I'm at the 11:40 mark on the thing. But again, as a Scrum Master, worker team, make it so it's not as painful so they don't keep talking, so they don't get questions, right? And I think there's a question, either that or you post a graphic or something, but it's buffering. It must be a big, long comment. So I'm going to say goodbye. It's Tuesday. Week's going. Some people on the other side are already finished their day because I know they're 16 hours ahead. So for them, it's 12. It'd be 6 o'clock at night. It'd be 8 o'clock at night on New Zealand time. So they're all done for the day, having a cocktail or something like that. With that, thumbs up. Remember, commitment, the 2-week time box gives you an insight to make it easier to make a commitment. And thumbs up if you like the show. Ring the bell if you want to get noticed, just like I got a little phone call saying we're live on the show while we're doing this. And when I post up stuff, I got to post up a thing for the interview thing on Friday. It looks like we're going to do it Friday at 9 a.m. We're going to do the post interviews. I got to start reaching out to more of my Scrum Master buddies, men and women, both, everyone, all different places around the world, and ask them about Scrum, and we're going to interview them. It's not going to be the most like, hey, this is the highest person on the planet, but it'll be some normal people that we all deal with, and maybe share some references as we go. And then don't forget about the never-ending talking. Tough Dog Scrum Master. We got to make it easier so they don't have to seem like they have to talk all the time. Give them more avenues to talk. Maybe that's another thing too. They don't have enough time during the week to talk, so they take over the whole thing. With that, thumbs up. Happy scrumming. Hope you enjoy your day. Take some time out if you can. Go outside. Here it looks like it's going to be a beautiful day, and take a walk. Get out of the cave. Stretch your legs, and remember, this stuff will get over soon. So if you're thinking about delaying stuff that you really wanted to do, get started on it because it's going to come fast. And then we're going to be caught off. We should have done something, but we didn't do anything at all, right? Yeah, it's classic. I'm in that mode right now for a few things. So you're in the same boat. We're all in the same boat. Take care. Have a great day and stay healthy and have some fun.